There is the live. I think for upcoming times, I want an intro for this. But for now, everyone, welcome to an all shift happening now community live. We are going to have a party because we have some super cool guests here in the house, which I'm very, very excited about to talk to. I'm Tim Tactical. With me is Sarah Zula. Hi, Sarah Zula.
Hi, Tim, and hi, everyone. Good to be back.
Good to see you. We just rushed from Ticket to Ride right into our community live. We're so happy that you're with us on the call. And we're super happy to have Kedrich Olsen with us, our shadow worker. So happy to see you back. Hi, Kedrich. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm great. It's good to be back. Things couldn't be better, and they're just going to keep getting better.
That is exactly what we wanted to hear. So glad to have you. We have two special guests with us, everyone. One who is who am I going to introduce first? I'm so excited about both of you to be with us right now. One of them is from Germany, actually, but right now living in Arizona, USA. And known for two things. First of all, he's a conscious rapper, which is pretty amazing. I think that's remarkable. And then he also discovered that he connects with some ET wisdom and builds phenomenal art items that have various functionalities. So I'm very happy we have Urus in the house. Hi. You got to say something, otherwise you're not on the screen.
Okay. What up?
Perfect.
Here I am.
You're right. Good to see you. And we go into some of the stuff that you're building because that's really phenomenal. And we do have someone else as a very special guest tonight, which makes this a huge party here. Orion is with us. I know in her human appearance, her name is Rebecca, and she was on stage with me at the Glastonbury event. Had some incredible information about the Orion star system, not only and not limited to that, but that is one of the major sources where you get a lot of information from. Welcome and good to see you. I think you're still muted.
Oh, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I'm more with technology, I told you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
It's so nice to have you. And we're going to dive into your story and some of the information that you're presenting to humanity and Earth right now, which is really special. But I think we have so many amazing guests, but we do also have a very honorable and beautiful space for two of our golden ticket winners. From the French-speaking side of Canada with us is Cathy. Hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to be here with you all. I'm looking forward to hearing you tell us about yourself and what you've discovered this last month.
Beautiful. And as always, Cathy is matching her background beautifully. I don't know how you do that every time, but it's really on point. And then we also have Diana, and Diana is also going to share a very special story tonight. Hi, Diana.
Hi, Tim, and hi, everyone. It's such a thrill to be here as usual, and I look forward to sharing my story.
I'm excited for that because that's super cool. Again, it's a party tonight. I'm very excited to have these lovely people with us and so many great speakers too. Which, as always, we have a chat on YouTube. We currently are heading towards 100 people with us, so people floating in right now. Just drop some beautiful comments, some questions if you'd like to. This is your chance to connect with 4 very special speakers and ask your questions. But as always, it's also an beautiful opportunity to check and communicate with the All Shift Happily Now community. So we have Rebecca here. Cindy is with us, which is amazing. Free from Illusions. Jesse is here. Hello from New York City. Hi to New York City from all over the world. Hi back. PJ is here. Michelle is here. Naomi just made it from Ticket to Ride back to the All Shift Happily Now community live. That's amazing. PJ is really pleased that Kadrich is back in the house. I'm very, very happy about that. Christy is here. That's amazing. She was with us in Germany at the conference. Ben, happy Sunday from Texas. Happy Sunday back to Texas. I guess there's good weather there. All over Europe, it starts snowing right now. But I know some people from Texas, they said, like, it's amazing weather. Pia is with us. She's missed everyone. So did we, very, very much. But luckily, once a month, we have this connecting moment with all of you, all of us. That's beautiful. Happy Monday morning from Australia. Thank you so much for everyone down under tuning into the All Shift Happening Now YouTube lives with us. So cool. That's amazing. Laura is there, Victoria is there, Sharon's there, Raven is here, Angela is here, made it from Ticket to Ride over, Ashley is here, Kati is both here and in the Golden Ticket group. Amazing. Everyone, we are going in and out of the chat, so if you'd like to drop some comments there, and we are diving into some of these questions that you have. I think we should start with Kadrich Olsen, because we deeply missed you, and we made this beautiful video where we at the conference where we thought of you. Deeply missed. There was so much going on where people connected to Freya in a very unexpected moment, where something spoke through one person. So that was a really interesting moment, and you were deeply missed. Kadrich, how are you feeling? What's with your life? How do you do?
Things are good. Things are good on the mend. You know, still a little challenging walking too far, but we're getting there. You know, still looking into deeper things on that. So I can't go too far, but things are good. You know, home life is wonderful. The stuff I'm doing, the classes, the courses, the working with people, that's my big thing. You know, I'm a natural born teacher. My role in this world is to teach, is to bring this stuff together. So, you know, I pursue purpose before pleasure, in a sense, and then accept the joy and the happiness that comes along the way. And boy, it's been wonderful, you know, so things are good. Things are very good.
That's
and
beautiful.
I missed you all there. Thank you, everybody, for that video. Thank you. That was really touching. I had to watch it a couple times, and I got choked up. I didn't know what to say. No one's ever done that before, so it was just like, oh, my deepest heartfelt gratitude to everybody. Thank you for that.
I was, yeah, there was so many beautiful moments at the conference, but there was also certain sadness that you couldn't be there, because some of the wisdom that you bring, especially in the context of where the conference was, would have been so fitting. I did my best to tell some of the Germanic stories, but you were clearly missed. Interestingly enough, in one QHHT session that Sarah Brexman made live in front of everyone, a species came through and telling us, it was on a Thursday, telling us that the Germanic tribes have a special relationship to Friday, and that we should honor the divine feminine on Fridays. And I did my best to explain that, but maybe you can add like a few words to what that is about.
Absolutely. Every day of the week, with the exception of Saturday, in a sense, is named after a Norse deity. You know, of course, Sunday, the sun, Moon Day, Monday. And then Tuesday is Tyr's Day, the one-handed god, Tuesdag. Wednesday, Woden's dog, Odin's dog. Thursday is Thor's day. And Friday is Frigg's day, also known as Freya's day. And they're interesting that we can look at Frigga and Freya as sort of sacred feminine archetypes. I like to look at archetypes. Freya is the maiden, in a sense. She's the bringer of fertility. She is the bringer of wealth. She's the resources that you can tap into for that abundance, that joy, that beauty, that opulence, the love, the lust. And remember, lust is actually life force. It's flowing life force. It's just got corrupted over the years. And she represents that. She represents all those things that are beautiful. But remember, she's still a badass. You know, she gets half of the warriors that fall in battle. Frigg is Odin's wife. She's like the mother, the archetype of the mother. And in all of the Norse deities, there is only one deity that can outwit Odin, and that's Frigg, his own wife. And there's a couple of fun stories about how she's been able to outwit Odin. And so Friday is a day sacred to her, to both of these, in a sense. People will argue if it's Freya's day, Frigg's day. I'm like, let's honor them both. They are both representative of the divine feminine. And so on Friday is our day to acknowledge the beauty, the love, the joy, the nurture, the care that the women in our lives bring to us, and that the divine feminine brings to us, that the goddesses bring to us. And the Old Norse recognized that on Friday to do that. So yeah, perfectly appropriately, perfectly good stuff. Friday, Frigg's day, Freya's day. Good stuff.
So interesting. It was yeah, Sarah, I wanted to just bring you up and well, go ahead.
Thank you, Tim. I was just going to say quickly, because Angela was saying it in the chat and it was very true. And it's interesting that you mentioned the warrior piece of her, because that didn't come through for us when she came through. But something that did come through was that she was fierce. She was fierce when she came through and was inviting everyone to honor her on that Friday. It was like, let's go, people. Let's honor this land. Let's honor this. And it was quite feisty. So interesting that you said that she was that warrior type.
Absolutely.
I think we have to tell the story quite like in just a few sentences so everyone knows what we were talking about, because some haven't had the chance to go to the Our conference. So what we did was Sarah Brexman was putting everyone into hypnosis. We had some extreme energies that we were working on, and there was one particular woman, and she was very new to the world of spirituality. She had no idea what was going on. She was basically brought into that by Masha, who's one of our golden ticket winners too. And at one point, she went into channeling, which is something that has never happened to her. And she went into channeling this Germanic, feminine energy of Freya. So we basically, maybe if Karich was around, we could have interviewed her and connected to that, because it was a very rare and very interesting situation that has never happened and occurred to herself. But it was very interesting. So she basically said, this is our land, this is my land. I want to be honored. And she had some interesting synchronicities where she was seeing what other people were doing in the forest, even though that particular woman that was actually channeling her could have not seen what was going on, which is a very, very interesting proof to that. How would you have handled that, Kedrich?
I don't know. It's a very good question. I would definitely be open and receptive to the information coming through. I'm not sure, depending on how the situation would have unfolded. I wish I could give you a better answer right now, but my answer is I don't know. I'd have to experience it firsthand to better tell you, but it's fascinating to me.
It is super fascinating. It was very unexpected. One of the things that happened at the conference that we did not see coming, something that I was just interviewed by Emilio Ortiz on his podcast, which is going to come out in December, and he was asking me if there's one thing that I could ask an ET species out of the top of my head, what would it be? And I want to forward that question to you, Kedrich, because you really hold a lot of wisdom about the Nordics and all that mythology. If you could ask one thing to these Nordic gods, what would that be? What would be the one thing that you ask them?
That's a difficult one. That's a really difficult one. I've asked so much of them over the years. We have good contact. I mean, when over the years I've been able to speak with them, they've been pretty clear. And for a while, things got a little bit quiet, too much exploring different things. And when I went to Norway and I stood in front of the god poles, I could hear them clearly again. So we've been having good open dialogue. We've been talking really regularly. I visit Balder regularly in Helheim, and I speak with Odin practically daily. My questions are pretty well answered because we talk all the time on various things. We speak all the times on various things. I guess if I were to have the question, then this is the question where I'm at right now, because it's going to evolve all the time, is how do I put the pieces together between like Zoroaster and Osiris and Thoth? How do I put those pieces together to the Vedic origin of the Norse deities? Because they were the Asuras that left India and traveled the world. And I want to know, where does that next piece fit in? Where do they fit in with the Vimanas? Where do they fit into those old Vedic tales before leaving India and starting to roam the world? That's my current place of wonder.
Oh, that's an interesting take. Whenever you figure that out, Kerich, let us know so we can all benefit from that. Really special. We have one person here who was actually in Glastonbury too, had a beautiful presentation that was really interesting about Orion, but I also know that she is interested in the divine feminine, and that is maybe the connecting point to the story of Freya. Well, I'm still going to call you Rebecca. Rebecca, what's your story about that, and why do you connect to the divine feminine? Why do you think it's so important right now?
Oh, thank you. For the first time, I heard about the Orion Nebula. It was from my contact, my ET contact. For those who didn't know my story, I have a background as a contactee and as a soul. I prefer to define myself as soul. So, and my contact started to explain to me in a respectful way, and show to me and contact me in a very, very slow but respectful way. They're not interfering beings. They are from the Orion belt. And I have other contact, but basically these beings called Nteru, they were called Neteru, were some, it's a word that means guardians. And the root of the word Ur means Orion. So I have to start by that. But just to say that they introduced me to the divine feminine because they always speak about Orion like a place of love, like a womb. So I didn't get these when I was a little girl because, of course, I needed to integrate a lot of information. But while I was growing up in my 20s, they showed me like scientific aspect of these and introduced me to the reason why Orion was important for the ancient civilization. That was not because of the Orion beings, but because there is a presence of this Orion Nebula called M42, that for them is sacred, they call Ra, and these produce a particular light that is called the circulopolarized light that is responsible of life. And scientists discovered these recently. They look for this kind of circulopolarized light. Sorry, I'm Italian, so the pronounce is hard. So the air especially. And so they discovered this light that not goes straight line, but goes in circular way. And by this movement, select which molecules get close to. So basically, they're responsible of the creation of life. So the scientists look for this kind of light for 20 years and then discovered for like under, I think 1 century, and they find it in the area of Orion, and they call this area like a star nursery. So that's the scientific aspect. But for the Orion beings, this place is called this is Ra, Uru, the place where stars have been born. So in my question, I always ask them how to give a position to these uh, with God and with the spirit, and they say Ra or Uru is not God, but is an emanation of the source. So if the universe would be a body, this nebula would be the one, the feminine. And so it was so clear that the energy I remember from Orion Belt was so feminine, while other contactees speak about wars and bad stuff. My experience with these beings was so benevolent, and they have this union. This they always shows the eighth dimension, the eighth to the 14th dimension is the range they operate. So they always show me the eight, that is the symbol of union, that is some kind of, this is the energy they bring. So inclusion, back to the one. So this is the divine feminine energy we can associate with Orion. I don't know much about other, the historical figure he speak about, Kendrick, right? Is your name Kendrick? So I don't know
Yeah.
how to. I would. I cannot speak for things I don't know. I can only speak for what I learn, but for sure there is a correlation between this energy and the stars. So I think this figure, I don't know, Tim, is answered the question. I
Well,
don't know
for
much
sure. There was a
about.
lot of transmission that actually happened to you. You had one moment in your life where suddenly these Orion beings were talking to you, where you were basically channeling them. You were shown certain things that you also put into lovely artworks where you described how these beings looked, and lots of information came through. What was that like? What was your first impression of it? And how would you also, describe to other people how that feels to have these, internal information that come just, up in your life?
Wow. So it's been a lot. So I started since I was a little girl channeling automatic paintings because it's automatic transmission. It's like channeling. So I take a pen or a pencil and a piece of paper or whatever I have under my hands, and I start to channel this automatical sacred geometry or light symbol and weird stuff that later I discovered was like something quantum physics or mathematical, and I'm the less like mathematical person. I'm the worst. So this is not something I could know. So my mom started to notice something weird when I was a girl, that I keep painting this perfect geometric shape. And I didn't do that. So when how can I say, I've never been so good in painting. So I can paint. I'm an artist. I love to paint, but my kind of art is more free. So precise geometry was directly download I received throughout my DNA. So how it was, for answer your question, I think it becomes when you come to this world, you have a lot of integration to do, a lot of DNA modification in order to adapt this contact. So for me, it was like very unconscious way when I was a child, and then in my teenage, I become more aware of what happened. And when you become more aware as a person, as a teenager, you start to notice think weird stuff happens and who you are, and you know put yourself in a position of asking what's happened, what's going on. And my health was receiving after all this channeling a lot of problem, so difficulties, until I integrate the information. So now I know that it just was a process, and then when I integrated in my soul, when I balanced all of these huge downloads, free volcano information, I um, I was feeling better when I started to integrate in my soul. before in my teenage year was a nightmare because I always have weird healthy problems until this energy contacts me. My body needed to adapt to certain dimension frequency. So basically, what they explained to me is that the body of a starseed or contactees or people like us, there are a lot of us. Uh, it's needed preparation in the biological form even before the birth. So in the womb of the mother, a little modification of the DNA that then maybe go back to the ancestral lineage or the great grandfather or great grandmother modification gradually, very slowly by input like some frequency, not in a horrible surgery way like sci-fi movie, but just imposing this frequency and then you start there to receive these downloads. So all that I get now is just downloads of memory that is imprinted in my genetic memory, I think. If yeah,
Thank,
something like that. It's
thank you
difficult.
so, thank you so much. You mentioned downloads and something that where information flowed in, and you also mentioned the mechanical part. I know someone who's also experienced that and also almost became a magical scientist in a way by taking these insights and making that his career, but also a very beneficial thing for humanity because he keeps building these things. Arcturus Ra, how was that for you when you received information, maybe from an outside source that you then brought into your mechanical parts on the items that you produce?
Well, the interesting and what I like to call weird and wacky storylines are that for us star seeds, for some of us, not everybody makes a choice. See, when I was on ayahuasca, a ship came, took me out of the trip, and put me on a ship. So when I spoke to a shaman, it was like I was above the regular pay grade of a regular shaman. No disrespect. So we're going into spectrums where visions can take place, and one must choose to receive those visions. Otherwise, you don't have that intelligence. It won't come forth. I'll give you one example here. Like I built this kind of like a spaceship type contact beacon, 24 karat gold, and I can channel basically sacred geometry into physical form. And for that, I had to repair an interface in my brain. Now, here's the story. First of all, you have to find a psychic that goes on a galactic level, that kind of knows your home planet, knows your star origin, which is not so mystical in woo-woo. You can really go out and check your astrological chart, look at your star systems, and see what star nations do you represent. So most of my planets are North Node, Arcturus. So very clear. I am Arcturus Ra-an, meaning that I represent the Arcturian frequency as in the light of Ra, which is a collective consciousness, social memory complex. Check the law of one material, the Ra material. And I'm from planet Epsilon, which is the planet An. So that's hence the name Ra'an as in epsilon. So you can get into detailed information, but you have to dig. You have to. You can't do that sober unless you have enough DMT, dimethyltryptamine, being produced in your faculty to actually present that. Getting into the detail, fragmented spaces of yourself. We're fragmented beings. We have to collect the pieces. I mean, who would have known that I had a scientific part of me where our friend just before me just said that, she's not a scientist. She's not into math. I sucked at math. I was, I had the baddest grade you can ever have. Like I failed and failed and failed. Like I couldn't get it until my lost part from planet Maldek, a scientist that before the planet was blown up by a fallen, you can say, scientist priesthood. And I was on the other side trying to prevent that from happening. I got stuck. So that aspect got lost before that planet blew up. So we went back in time. We found that piece of me on planet Maldek stuck in a crater and kind of brought that back to me. Interestingly, when that part was released through the psychic and me in combination, the plant works, doing vision questing and in working with the medicine in detail, I found that fragment and put that back into me. And Lord and behold, my IQ went up like, I don't know, 100-fold. All of a sudden, I understood geometry, I understood bits and pieces, and the cuts and the equations and things and formulas and even extraterrestrial stuff that had to find an implementation through the interface in my mind that you can also see in the human design. I have something like of a module inside of my consciousness crown chakra connected spirit to body where I can translate metaphysical forms into form. And always, yeah, you can say, bitch about it a little bit. When we channel, we got to get out of generic. We got to get out of the blessing and the good and the well-being and the love and the light. There's detailed information that actually helps us to further the existence on this planet. I tell people, like, sometimes there are cases that people don't study with remote viewers. Some shamans are that, or some of our starseeds, like Elizabeth April, like very talented remote viewers. But they're remote viewers. They can read freaking serial numbers on satellite systems, find coordinations of lost planes, know where oil is, know where gold, know where diamonds are. Like they know those things. Uri Geller, you know, the famous spoonbender, made his money by telling oil companies where to dig, not because of his metaphysical talents and spending spoons. People don't know that. He would say, show me a map, and then he would say, okay, dig here, you will find oil. We had water diviners that can go out into the desert and say, dig here, you'll find water. What are you looking for? Like we have psychics, we can go back in time. Go into the specifics as a starseed. I urge everybody that's into that field and study yourself and unfold the mechanics and open the doors and get into the detail so we don't have predictions of who wins the election and blah. And it can go sideways when we make predictions, because we can make predictions. We have to make probable timeline adjustments by saying if we keep going into that current and the collective response to that current, that will be a weather forecast. So it's going to be more accurate and specific. And I am, you can say, a little bit like obsessed with getting into the detail of a descriptive nature of what a starseed is, and that requires study, that requires education, inner education, knowing that a lot of stuff in books are twisted and reversed and refracted and reflected backwards, that you got to go and untangle all of this mess, you know, like our friend Kedrich, who's Odin, who is Zeus? Are they the same person, you know? The story of the Olymp, Asgard, Jotunheim, all the 9 realm systems are 9 planets. They're not just elsewhere. We could traverse those. The Bifrost, that where the watcher that ran that tower helped you actually to teleport yourself into other places. Life is so fantastic. People miss it. Anybody in the audience know the movie John Carter, when the guy teleported, basically telecopied a copy version of his body double to Basum? This is written in 150 years ago by a guy named Edgar, which was his nephew. And in the will, he said, write a book, write about my life. So this guy existed. That real estate exists. That dude traveled and left the planet. And if you check these books written by this guy, Edgar, you have to check the Hollywood picture that failed according to Hollywood. This was disclosure. Somebody already found out the mechanics to project themselves to other planets. And once that knowledge comes back, it's going to be evident. And you'll be calling ships. You'll be having contact. Same thing I have to say, people talking about the promise of open contact. Contact is an ongoing thing. We have never left spirit form. We are projecting ourselves from other realms, which we call spirit realms. And contact is constant, not in ways you would imagine. Ships landing on the lawn in the White House. I'm bombarding you right now, but it's just to activate the people. Is in dream states. You're giving messages. You have angels. You have help. Everybody has a med team. You have 4 people that assist you. I have elves. I have gnomes. I have a lot of extraterrestrial and elemental assistants that always around me. As a child, that can overwhelm you because you feel like shutting down. You can't go to bed. Everything and everybody is in your room. So I'm just giving you like the flood of what's happening. Remember Betty and Barney Hill, first interracial couple that was abducted, and she had annual meetings with Kraft's Landing. She showed the pictures. Barbecue set up. The dudes are like 200 feet away waving. Don't come too close for the time dilution and time dilation aspect. We have that happen in Mount Shasta. Go up there. I tell non-believers, if you have never had contact, seen a Sasquatch, or experienced a ship, go to paranormal places and make your own experience. We I feel like a black savior. We have to create these schools for gifted starseeds that can actually do something with their craft, and build things, put things into place, geometries. I know about landing sites. If they're not magnetite and electrically, and like with an obelisk, biangular triangulation are coordinated, you cannot just build a landing site. You need to build something that is attractive for an interdimensional craft to come. And then as we are Starseed envoys, we are chosen to be the ones that enable you to talk to them and them talk to you. It's not like you can stand in front of an ET, high dimensional, let alone ultra dimensional existence, and just not collapse, because they are basically knowing every cell from the atomic consciousness structure to the smallest particle imaginable. So it'll shock you when you stand in front of your ancestors, because the purity and all your issues and everything that you're running, all the stuff that you've been tainted with on this planet, is going to run the protocol, and you're going to collapse. And then you have to be able to stand on your legs, to stand in front of a being, let's say 20 feet apart, and just even be in telepathic connection to recalibrate, to let that come in. And we are at the verge right now where you don't have to promise contact. That is there if you're ready. Even Graham Hancock said that they came to ships and the dude was in front of him and he was like, no, and he wished he would have said yes. They were ready to pick him up, and on and on. I can talk for like hours. I'm just cut it right there. So any question or specifics you have, feel free to ask me anything, and I refract back what I have in resonance with what's going on.
Tim left the building, so I'll jump in here. Ra, it's good to see you again. Last time I saw you was Sedona, like 2 years ago. Remember that?
Yeah.
I can't believe I
Yeah,
met
of
you
course,
there.
of course. That's what
Good
I
to
remember
see
you.
Yes,
Good to see
yes.
you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you
So
too.
the moderator has left the building.
The
Where's the
moderator's left,
moderator?
but I got
Wo
us.
bist du, Tim?
It's for Vistu.
Wo
I'm
steckst
here.
du,
I'm here.
Mr. Tactics?
I did listen to you, but I thought like my battery was apparently my laptop wasn't plugged in, so I quickly had to plug that in. But I was there. I was listening to that, and I also saw in the. Thank you, by the way, Sarah, for dropping in and holding that space. I do see that a lot of people are really curious about the items that you produce, and I think they are so special to look at in the way that you they are so precisely made. Maybe you can hold like one or two of them into the camera.
I'll show you like special designs. Give me 1 second. I have one here that's
Someone
called...
had the gold pendant, the Jed pillar, the gold pendant. Then she was
that's
mentioning
what
she loves that.
That's what I sent to Tim. That is the basic. Well, that's basically, you see this as a hieroglyph in the Egyptian walls. This is a Jed, and the Jed was actually a tool, a generator, and in the Egyptian culture, in the ancient esoteric practices, it's called raising of the Jed, and that means this is a pillar that is to activate and bring back original consciousness in the body, according to source. So this goes beyond all religions and all written books. It's just get the light distribution in your cellular matrix in a correct order. And that's this thing. It's that powerful. I have that in my car clipped to my fuel line, and it turned from a 19 mile per gallon to a 27 mile per gallon car. So I'm influencing the photonic array in the liquid flow of my car, as an example. But now imagine what it does. Like, I have that outside in the yard. The bamboo from my neighbor basically grew into my driveway, and its bushes explodes. Basically, it's about affirming and attracting life. I have individual designs. This one here is called Echelon Blue. That's basically the same light structure emanated on the atomic consciousness. So I get different downloads, and I know how to build those things. The glass you see, that's zirconium glass. And then Swarovski, like blue opal, like the basic form, not the super expensive ones, so people can afford pendants. And then a steel plate under zirconium glass with an engraving of, that's called the rose curvature. That's a flower of light. So that's a new thing. And I will interview that person. She's called Commander Zozar. And she showed me that there's a flower of life, but the expansion of the system is the flower of light, which is the curvature of the thing, where it's more elliptic, because planets do not move circular, planets move in actually an elliptic trajectory. And then you can go to my store where I have tons and tons of that material listed. On my YouTube channel, I'm explaining the science. So this is basically about bioresonance. Simply explain, you put an apple in your root cellar, an apple can last up to a year. An apple in your kitchen, a week, and decay and rot begins. Why? Because it's out of resonance. So I was thinking about what is the pyramids, the Niagara Falls, Hawaii, the canyons of Sedona, holy places, the Holy Well of Lourdes in France. What do they have in common? So what do they have in common? Highly divine energies. What do they consist of? Magnetic anomalies, photons, and negative ions. And if they're in a high array, they create something like a scalar wave, meaning scalar energy coming from the ground that is not produced by electricity. It is produced by the correct arrangement of elements. So I was like, how do I create a portable vortex that I can actually measure? That emits photons, that's partially magnetics, and creates negative ions. So I channel together my scientific self from the future. So mind you, I'm what I was called a pod being, and I've met a few. I'm basically on an Arcturian workstation in a pod, which is a recall ship for ETs that project their consciousness, a fraction of their consciousness, from birth into a vessel, into an avatar. So some talked about their walk-ins. I'm a projected in. I'm projected backwards in time from that recall ship into this vessel. So when I pass this vessel, I don't go into the white light. I wake up into my ET body, which happened several times. And maybe to some of you, I literally, you know what Morpheus says, when you take the red pill, I'm saying that's the medicine, you interrupt the input and output carrier signal from this realm. And when that happens, you wake up actually in your original form, or wherever you are, or where you're projecting from. And that's what happened to me. By dealing with shamans and shamanic medicine, I started waking up on a ship. It's not even like I was taken. That's just a metaphor for consciousness. I was already there. So basically going to sleep, and I'm in this sarcophagus with all these technical instruments. And I'm like, let me out, let me out. What is this? And then they explained to me, well, you have a fraction of your consciousness in this body. You are an Arcturian being. I'm like tall. I'm like 15 feet tall. I have elven ears. I have opalescent blue skin. I have an elongated head. And it's different. There's two major species that we know on this planet. Brian Förster, the Paracus, they're cone-shaped. Arcturians, they're more like this. I have an example I'll show you. It's me. My head's kind of more, it's more like this, you know? So that's kind of like Arcturian representation of the elongated head. And I think that our ancestors like Akhenaten, we were lesser because they were breeding with humans on Earth, which is a whole nother story. And when the breeding with the human genealogy begins from extraterrestrial, you lose that aspect of the elongation, and your head actually goes back to the human form. And what's left is, maybe if you can see this, I have a little bulge here. They wanted to operate that when I was little. Can you imagine? They wanted to chisel it off because it doesn't look beautiful. I'm like, my mom was like, "Are you insane?" So this is deep. Our story goes so deep in how we're here, and we're all galactic mutts. You know, if you do genealogy, you probably have 50 races just Earth based on you. Not even talking about the millions of times you have incarnated to be here. We did this all before. And the major thing is, like our Italian friend said, it's about memory. Getting the memory in order. One angel is based on that. People don't talk about that angel enough, is Zadkiel. He's about the correct structure of the memory and the recall of who you are and what your sole purpose is to be on this planet. And that is the only thing, when you wake up to your purpose, that's the only thing you're here to do. Nothing else. Like the painter paints, the plumber fixes the plumbing, the dentist fixes the teeth. Yeah. And we have in this social media, as you can see, everybody is trying to be something else to get better or get further ahead. You get ahead when you do that what you came here to do. And that is with healing, with medicine, with herbs, going within, going inside, bringing that out, bringing it forward, projecting it into the world, and helping the world to create a world in a better frequential light. And that's what I do with my tools, with my geometries, things that I channel. This is 24 karat gold. And this basically is like a spaceship, but it's also a contact beacon for galactic family, and the intention to connect better with you. So you have oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen, as in stargates, bringing in the zero field, and the ether, which is where all connects, or we call it dark matter, but they're still dabbling, trying to figure that out, which we already know what that is. And to help people establish a better connection to their galactic heritage. And I'm here, as you can say, a galactic envoy or Starseed ambassador to shake things up, to help people to awaken to their purpose. And I don't know if Tim already, if you have already held the things in your hand or felt them, like there's something to it that resonates, that's in a higher quantum realm. But interestingly, when I go to these congresses, I let people hold those, and they're like, everybody can feel what I'm doing. Everybody gets activated with the energy and perturbed in a positive way. We put things in beehives, and the bees returned. So something must be right when nature returns.
Beautiful. I have not, I know you've sent me some items, and everyone in the All Shift Happening Now community, we're going to do an unboxing and go through some of these items once they're here. Currently, they're in the customs, so I have to clear them first. But once they're here, I'm going to do that. Really, really interesting. I see a lot of comments. They saying they could listen to this forever, and basically loving our 4 speakers here. Well, 5 speakers here. So that is amazing. So basically, I think we should bring you all back on at another time to just go into some other stuff. But Arcturus Ra was saying something about awakening to your full potential, your mission on planet Earth. And I think there is someone who can really speak to that. And I would like her to answer how people can actually awaken to their own soul's mission. And isn't that something that we all create for ourselves anyway, Sarah Zula?
Yes, amazing. And it was super inspiring too, Arcturus. I don't know if you can see, Ra, I don't know if you can see the chat, but people were really loving what you were sharing. And they were really like, this is such a beautiful community. I want you to know that they were really receiving it. So thank you for all that you shared. And this is, I love that you brought it back to that, because I couldn't agree more that as soon as we align with that authentic nature, who we came here to be, things just start changing in life. Dots start connecting, things start clicking into gear. So it's really beautiful when we can do this. Now, I'll share, this community knows me well, but I'll share what I do for people and with people as that process is happening. Is I really support people in what Laura Knight, or I know you as Rebecca as well. So what Rebecca was saying too, of the process of integrating. Because Tim, you asked the question of how do people discover that? What I always share with people is we often already know. It's like when we were 3, when we were 4, we've had memories, we've had weird stuff happen, we've had inclinations of just things that we're inspired by, things that we're excited about, but how the current system is put in play is to squash that. It's exactly why those Stanford studies that were done on what happens to the genius that's available in most children, what happens to that over time, it's actually taught out of them in the school system. So something I like to remember people is we often already know. The only reason we think we don't is because of something we learned before we knew better that made us question that, or made us think that our thing isn't as important and we got to go do these fake ideas of jobs over here because that's what's more important. So I think what gets to happen, and the more I work with specifically starseeds, what gets to happen is, one, we do a lot of healing on some of the generational stuff that could just be stored in the body. We do a lot of healing on some of the subconscious programming that might have happened on this planet that limit them from just accessing their own genius. But another thing that we do is we clear the way so that being can remember that they're creating their experience and they don't have to comply to a system that doesn't serve them. And it's big because it can feel like if we have children or if we have some current financial situation or things like this, that we are a victim to the system at play, and it's just not the case. We are creating our experience. And when starseeds especially can remember that, and they can soften into the awareness of, oh, I get to choose how to be, I get to choose how to live, I get to bring my gifts and just shine my light authentically, and wait a minute, I'm actually safe to do so. Oh my goodness, we see the light activate in those beings, and we see them come alive, and we see them share their gifts in their unique way, the same way that Rebecca and Kadric and Rod just did here, and the same way Tim did here. So what I always like to share with people is we often already know, and what I love to do for people, and what we can all do for ourselves as well, is clear out the things that make us think we don't know. You know, heal from the programming, heal from the perspectives that make us think we don't know. And then maybe we can go on that journey that Ra was talking about of connecting to those timelines, all of those things. But I think it's beautiful when we just remember, oh, we already know. And people say, where can I get started? Where can I get started knowing my soul mission? Where can I get started knowing my soul purpose? When we just follow that spark of the thing that brings us joy, of that thing that inspires us, it unfolds. And we allow ourselves to keep going with that, and we allow ourselves to take that as far as we can, and we clear out any of the limitations that make us think we can't do it because of some fake system going on that makes you think you need to spend time somewhere else. We free ourselves from that, and oh my goodness, so much opens up. So I just love getting to be here and talking about this on this degree with this special community too.
I love that. Thank you so much, Sarah. Pia is saying it's a big deal for her. It feels so safe to just be, and I think that's an amazing amazing acknowledgement when we realize that we are connected to this universe. We are this universe, and we are constantly, utilizing, dipping in and out, and selecting from eternal opportunities. And think that's things that we can change all the time. This is also the reason why we dive into some of the knowledge that Arcturus Ra was sharing and talking about. We definitely are masters of our own realities, and whatever we focus on gets better. That's just how it works. And I think that's really beautiful. I know this is a fantastic life. I really enjoy that very much. We have beautiful speakers here. I think next time or some other time, we also need to dive more into the pot situation. Everyone on our side is doing the thumbs up. The pot situation. That was one of the things that Linda Moulton Howe was asking me all the time about herself. I'm not the one who should answer that. She should be the one to do that. But she was asking all the time, like, Tim, am I in a tube? I feel like my being is inside of a tube. Arcturus Ra was talking about that. Very likely, yeah, Linda, very likely you are inside of a tube. But again, that is choices in the universe, and whatever choice we make, whatever we choose for, becomes our reality. So if she would decide, no, she's not in a tube, that would definitely influence her timeline. We do have an interesting question from Trinimac talking about the Nordic mythology. He wants to know if Freya has actually a father, or where does she come from? Maybe you can share something about that, Kedrich.
Yes, in the Norse tradition, that there are two species, two different groups of deities. There's the Aesir, which are the higher gods, supposedly the human-oriented, about commerce, communication, warfare, city, all that kind of stuff. Then there's the Vanir, which are nature gods, about fertility, prosperity, abundance, growth. And unfortunately, we only have the names of three of the Vanir that have survived in history. There's Njord, which is the father of both Freyr and Freya, and he's the god of like the shallow ocean, abundance. He's the one that you call upon for abundance and wealth. And with Skathi, which is a giantess that married Njord, there's a story behind that. It's a fun story, but we'll get to that another day. But when Skathi and Njord married, the debate is Skathi the mother or the stepmother? weird translations. But Njord is the father of the twins, Freyr, which is the boy, and Freya, which is the daughter. So that's all we know. We're not entirely 100% sure who the mother is, but we know the father is Njord.
That's interesting. What's really interesting to me is ultimately we're all playing parts and embodiments of what something that is just a united field. So basically, we are also waking up to this reality where we are our own parents, our own children, our own neighbors, and so on and so on. I think that's a stretch. We can, intellectualize that, but living up to that reality will definitely change how we perceive the worlds. That's going to be really, really an interesting waking up process. Rebecca, how was it for you when some of these information came through you, and what was it like when these beings encouraged you to go onto the path that you're currently on?
Well, first of all, I want to say that what I resonate so much with what Sarah just says, because it's very important for me, that message, because one of the main thing is, it may sound very cliche, but one of the main thing they keep repeating us, is work on yourself, because your electromagnetic fields can affect the electromagnetic fields of others. So because we're all one, if you do the work, you have the courage to do this inner work. It's very important. It's the most important thing. Nobody can save you. Nobody can do the work for you. You have to do this by working and get rid of layers and layers of um your old skin that doesn't necessarily serve you anymore, get rid of the past. So I'm still doing the work. So for the thing Sarah was speaking about, I feel, even as a starseed, as a being, I have a similar story to Arcturus. I don't know the name if correct, sorry. But I still have this double life going up and down, and in this 3D form, the most important thing is integrate. So do the inner work in order then to be a clean bridge, to be in communication with other dimension. So for answering your question, sorry, Tim, what do you mean? You mean how it was for me to be in contact with them? So how it happened, or what they want me to transmit?
Well, the question was actually how that was for you when there is a different species reaching out, and I think a lot of people in the community can relate in a certain way, that they get information or get in contact with beings, and maybe it's not as clear as some of the channeling and transmissions that you got, but how was that for you?
So for me was first a constant preparation. As I said before, I need to go through my preparation. My body and even my soul needs a lot of time to do it gradually. And then, even though it was normal for me to have contact with these origins, but different star beings, I have contact with Arcturians, Pleiadians, Urians, a lot of different beings, and every one of these beings have its own way to interact, because usually I tend to explain that they are put not because they're more important or less important, but I put them just in different dimension. So the most distant the dimension is, the more is difficult for the body and for your how can I say, for your consciousness to integrate. At least at the beginning was like that. The more distance is the dimension they are speaking. So if for example Orion belt beings communicate from a different dimension, very different, very distant from 3D or 4D, they are from, as I said, to 8 to 14 dimensions. So it's very it needs a lot of time, it needs a lot of preparation, and in order to interact with the biological form, there are several things that happens, like sometimes object burns or coming back to an interaction with them. I was literally burning objects, touching electrical devices, and there are other beings more near this dimension that doesn't necessarily need all of these preparation because they're very close to the 3D. So it's more to start. Usually they choose these neutral beings, and then I've been in contact with different entity even in the way of their evolution. So I have basically contact with these benevolent beings that I used to call benevolent, but now I know that it's conscious as a benevolent. Negative is more unconscious, so conscious and unconscious and neutral. So even though there are a lot of races, a lot of entities, I start and Orion taught me this contact, this star friends taught me how to understand the different mindset and the different mind orientation of these beings. So there are beings sometimes that are so strongly in the mind, and for how I am, it's very difficult to interact with them and usually have this nausea, this feeling to throw up. But they're very friendly. They just want to communicate so much, and sometimes I have the feelings. So sometimes I have physical how can I say? I can uh, how can I say in English? It's tough to say this in another language. It's it's like explaining a feeling. I don't know. I can be aware of who they are based on the energy my body perceive when they're near. So I remember Tim, you speak about the, and I know so little about your story, and I'm so curious, but I remember you mentioned to have contact with different grays, for example, and how your body reacts to that. And once it's happened to me that some grays want to get close to me, but they weren't allowed to because I have some sort of protection. But they were curious about the DNA stuff, etc. And they attempt to get close to me, and I perceive this profound sense of not feel well, like you say, a crispy, like something very uncomfortable feelings. So when these contacts go on in the ear, you can have, you can resonate, you can understand when something is good, is benevolent, is conscious. So when someone is conscious, you feel, you perceive that they are with the one, so they're in balance with the one. When something is unconscious, they lost the frequency, they perceive themselves divided, and so they hurt others because they don't remember that they're all connected. And then they are the neutral that basically do their business. They do their how can I say, they trying to do these experience like us. And so I've in this year in these years of contact, I have been um, usually contact from friends, like friendly entities, but also these benevolent beings made me understand certain things by putting me in contact with other neutral beings. So they want me to do the experience of speaking with others to understand other point of view, and it was very um, interesting. I'm grateful for this experience because uh, they have all their personality. I don't know if it can sound weird, but even the thing of the humor, I can resonate with that because it's not because they are spiritual or in higher dimension or extra dimensional, they don't have intelligence and they don't have the sense of humor, they don't have their own personality. So it's fine. You can interact with all of these And so for my body wasn't fine at all because, as I said, I need biological preparation and integration of all of that. That ends in my 19 years old, but before was pretty difficult because it was overwhelming. All these downloads, all these things, all the things, what happened, and then some interaction with some curiosity that this activity above my my house, and I think the all the weird stuff happening to electrical system in my house, and my poor mom was because I lost my mom 2 years ago, but I used to live with her when I was a teenage, so she was always complaining because when these contacts happened, something was burning, and she was like, "Oh my gosh!" Just she was a teacher and kindergarten, like for young children, teacher, and she has a pretty normal life, single mom, you can imagine. So we have a lot of other things to think about, a lot of old, clean the tree, the familiar tree, a lot of old traumas. And so a lot of things to think about. And the last thing she wanted to think about or to worry about was the explosion of the devices. We weren't rich. So every day we have to buy like a new fridge, for example, a new TV. And she was okay. I quit. And she directly asked to them, please, I don't know who you are, but please, we cannot live like that. So even for them, it was needed an adjustation, like adjust to they need to find the right balance and how much energy I can bring into that house or with after a contact, how much energy they need to adjust in my body in order that I don't cause trouble. And so after that moment, the teenage crazy times, my life is not like that, except for a few days ago that my new house electric system exploded, but because it was a new house, so they need to adapt to the new house. So it needed a time to adjust, and then the thing going back to the normal in few days. And the same thing with the body. Sometimes happens something weird in my body sometimes in the past. And so maybe high or low pressure in the blood. And that was something unexplainable for doctors, or maybe the eyes, the pupil in my eyes were going small and little and big and going so like I was under drugs, but I never take drugs. So these unexplainable things happened to me. And even 4 years ago, they discovered that I have this rare genetic mutation in my DNA, so rare genetic syndrome, and which the one of the 13 of these type of rare genetic syndrome called Ehlers-Danlos is mine caused the flexibility, so the mobility of the joints. And Orion always told me we needed to adjust you to your body in order you to be aware, to be flexible, to do this kind of life up and down dimension. But I never know about this genetic rare syndrome until 4 years ago. So there are confirmation that are happening. Something was modified in my body, and that was not a funny part, but I'm grateful for that because I was able to know myself, to know the limits, to how can I say? I'm grateful because teach me so much. They taught me so much with lessons, with times, with doing step by step, with interacting with so many entities, would have the patience, the diplomacy to communicate with all these different beings that knock and says, please channel. So sometimes there are moments when I feel the need to channel some faces, some paintings, and they want to introduce themselves. So if I open that channel, it's like enormous amount of people want to introduce themselves. Maybe if I met some starseeds, they want to introduce to their families. And so I'm still learning how to manage all of these in this 3D life, because then there are days when I was maybe after the conference, sometimes I lay in bed with fever and I need to rest. And then I go back to my human 3D life. And so you need to find a balance to adjust to all of that. So that was the most difficult thing, being in this uh, 3D form, doing all of that. But I think I'm on the way. So maybe I should go to Sarah to learn how to better, transform this into some kind of 3D business or stuff like that, because I'm still not so good in the practical 3D life. But I think it was needed this time because there was so much to integrate. So it's perfect timing, because all these huge amount of things needs to come down here, and I need to integrate in my cell, in my body, in my mind, in my soul, in my heart. And so, yeah, there is a lot. It's a lot. So one thing I suggest to Starseed or Contact C, or however, Walk-in, whatever we can call it, is that every every one of us is different. So you and only you can remember your story. So sometimes we ask uh, outside, for channelers or for people to help us. But usually, the Star family, they always says, you have inside yourself all the information. Every soul is divine, so you have the own access to your downloads, and you can remember who you are. And there is a reason why you don't remember yet. So don't rush the process. My case was different. I was coming to this world with intact memories, so my path is a bit faster. So if I'm going to young age to adult age and remember billion of years in few years, so I think there are better way, more slow. Slow sometimes is good, because I speak with so many Tarsi that ask me, oh, please ask them who I was in that life. And I think there is a reason why you still don't remember that, you know?
Interesting. Interesting. Well, Sarah and I, we can definitely going to give you a link for a Ticket to Ride. And also we're going to talk about where we find our websites and so on in just a bit. But before Sarah, Kedrich and I, we go into meditation, I just want to read another question, which I think is super, super interesting. Coming from Tobias, probably German. Is it inadvisable for people in the military to awaken in terms of the weight of the reality they engage with? I think that is a very interesting question. It's definitely something that we touched today in Ticket to Ride, actually, where we talked about, these groups that still see some, they are in some way, whatever reason, they are still connected to conflict in basically a universe where there is no other self, right? Fighting with the universe is fighting oneself. So that is a crazy choice for some, but there are still beings in the universe that still, contribute to that in a way. Now, the big question is what happens to these beings when they awaken? And it definitely can have some severe effects, because when the mind is awakened to becoming eligible to create one's own reality, and then there are certain parts where you might still want to work on, then that can indeed influence the reality realm. The big question is that only a localized phenomenon, and is it so severe that it's going to influence more people? That depends on the individual person, but the universe will definitely always show people where to work on and what to do about it. Sarah and Kedrich, I bet you both have something to say about that question too. And then we go into meditation. Well, first of all, we're going to hear Diana's story right after this question, and then we go into meditation, and then it's almost time. But Sarah, add something to it, and then we have Kedrich.
Yeah, I do want to add something like that to that question because, oops, you guys can hear me, right? It's saying I'm muted. Okay, I got a notification that I'm muted. Okay, so I do want to add something to that question because there's a lot of dimensions to that question. And something I want to add is that no matter the experience the being is having on this planet, everything is healable, everything is integratable. And if that being chooses to awaken, they can be held through the process where they will integrate a lot, even for us collectively, as they walk through the healing of the process of awakening to oneness and starting to explore the experience of those, what they've been through and what they might have done. I don't even want to say done because that sounds accusatory, but what I want to add here is that we're all doing the best we can before we subconsciously know better. There's a lot of programming on this planet that a being like that with a really great heart who wants to protect, who wants to preserve, is going down a path like that to do so. So it's quite honorable. So anything that can come with the awakening with that can also come with so much compassion and so much love that these beings can be held through the process of awakening in that. Like everything is healable, everything is integratable. And when beings are doing that, it's quite honorable. And there's also the aspect of the warrior aspect of the human species that gets expressed in certain ways. And unfortunately, it's had the shadow of war for quite some time on this planet. But even with that, there's honorable ways of expressing that too. And I think when people start integrating that experience and healing from that experience, they can start honoring themselves for the honorable aspect of that, honoring their spirit for the honorable aspect of that. They're protector beings. You know, it just got manipulated for a little while, but they're protector beings, which is powerful. They have that willpower, and we need protector beings. So it's like honoring that, knowing that. And what I wish is that these beings could have their hands held a little more in a more universal way. You know, in a more spiritual way, that they can be held through the process of awakening and through the process of integrating this and through the process of honoring their power and their desire to protect, which is a really beautiful thing. So I just want, like, I wish for all of us to co-create something that can be more integratable for beings who go through this experience. And it's so needed too. But I'd love to hear from Kedrich as well.
It's a complex one. It's a very complex one because if on the surface we could look at service to self, service to others. Some people may think that originally that if you join any sort of military organization, there's warfare, there's harm, there's damage caused, therefore that's got to be service to self. But in a lot of times it's service to others, that protector, that guardian. We're going to keep people safe. The other complexity, especially for somebody awakening in the military, and I've seen this with a lot of the men that I've worked with, because I do specialize with sacred masculinity and helping guys tap into that. And I've worked with a lot of men who have been overseas, is when you're having the awakening experience, it's not really the things that you've seen, but the things that you had to do, the things that they don't want to talk about. And that's what's causing a lot of the damage over there, is we are awakening as a species, which is why warfare is becoming more and more unacceptable as a whole, but it still persists. And so the things that the warriors, the soldiers have to do, in some of the words I've heard, wouldn't it be great if it was just like 30-year-olds fighting 30-year-olds on a battlefield? But it's not. I'm not going to go into it. It's not like that. It's much worse. And so these awakened souls have to endure some of the things that they had to do. And that's hard. That's really hard. And that's the healing part. And that's where we have to go back into the service to self. Why were you there? What was going on? And that's where the soul gets healed. So it's really a complex subject. I've worked with a number of men who are dealing with this. And every single situation is different, but it's very complex. Very, very complex.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Kedrich, and I agree. I think it's very important also to say that some of the protective nature, especially in like a dualistic version of the universe, that can be a service to others as well. That and if we are lucky and if everything turns out very well, which we are manifesting in just a few moments, then humanity is indeed on a path of becoming a light warrior species, a protector in the universe. That is way better for everyone else than just slamming each other's heads into one another, something like that. I think we have an amazing Aushiftabli now here, live show here. It's really interesting. We are running a little bit out of time. I know that we are quite late already, and we do have a few moments of meditation, as always, at the end in order to uplift our energies. But we do have one golden ticket winner, and we have not yet heard from her, but I know something very interesting happened for her. So Diana, would you please share your story with the community?
Thank you for the opportunity to share. And first I want to say all of your stories are so fascinating. I'm so thrilled to be here to hear all of this. And perhaps the story I'm going to share, some of you can answer how this could have happened. So it was the time that my younger sister brought home her fiance to share and introduce to the family. And we were at the dinner table and I was sitting, that's my dog. I was sitting across from him, and for some strange reason, he all of a sudden disappeared. And so his form was still there, and it was almost as if there were dots or particles or atoms, I don't know, that was making up his body. But his human form was gone. And I had to blink my eyes a few times to make sure that maybe I wasn't just going to pass out for some reason, but he still wasn't there. The rest of the family was there, but he disappeared. Almost as if also those Star Trek movies where the people disintegrate, right? Before they beam me up, Scotty. And so I actually got up from the table and ran into the other room and started having a panic attack. My mother came after me and had me come back into the room. And I thought, okay, I'll go back. I'll sit down. So he was there. He starts, we're having a conversation and the same thing happened. Well, it happened 3 times. And I couldn't wrap my head around why I was the only one seeing this. Although I have had a lot of experiences throughout my life since I was a little girl about seeing things that other people didn't see and knowing things before things were going to happen to people or the world. But this was so different. And so that would be something I'd be curious to know if anybody could explain to me why or how that happened. I mean, why that happened, I ended up realizing is because I also ended up having some dreams about them 10 days before they were going to get married, which weren't pleasant. And I told my mom, I said, and oh my gosh, we all loved him. We loved him so much. He was so wonderful. And so there was dreams, like I say, I think it was, no. Okay, well, anyway, now this was a couple nights before having these dreams and sharing with my mother that I feel that they're not supposed to be married. And so the next morning, my mother called me and she said, Ralph had passed away. He had had a heart attack and he passed away. And so I still get choked up over that. But can anybody, so that's why I feel like I know why I was shown that, because I felt that he wasn't going to stick around much longer. But how does that happen is what I'm so curious to know, is how did he just become dots or particles? And I know you've talked about particles recently in some of your talks, Tim, but I don't know if this fits into that category or not. Does anybody have any thoughts?
I feel it almost goes into the realm of the paranormal. So I'd be interested to hear if Kedrich might be compelled to give some insights on that and how to actually deal with these visions.
I was been listening, and I'm not really entirely sure. I've seen things happen like that. I remember being at a seance once, and I was not the one giving a seance. I was a participant. But as I was watching the audience, there was somebody that gave me kind of a weird vibe, and I wasn't real thrilled with it. And then I noticed during the seance, they completely disappeared. Completely. And then when the seance was over, they came back. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's kind of related to the same kind of thing, that there is a way for us to temporarily wink out of existence, sort of speak, or to phase out a little bit, but I don't know the mechanism yet. I've seen it, I've heard of it, but I'm still learning. There's so much to learn on this one, but it's a fascinating story.
Sometimes there are also things happening that the only way they connect to our realities is because they are so exotic that they just shouldn't, so that's kind of interesting. Rebecca, you have something about that to say too.
Yeah, very quick. I know we are running out of time, and that made me think about Diana. Nice to meet you. That made me think about something a person told me. Of course, maybe you see this because you have this open channel as a medium. Maybe you can see things, but usually people who are about to leave, how can I say, they few months before the actual death, they are already dissociating from the body. So maybe this can be an explanation, because you prepare your soul to go away. I think 2 months, or I don't remember the right timing, but few days or weeks, or 1 month, 2 months, I don't remember, before the actual you know travel up there. So maybe you can perceive that he was not fully attached to his body because he was already prepared to go. Maybe, I don't know. This is something that made me think about.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, let me add this real quick. Like, this is because
Yeah, go ahead.
They're phasing. So, like Diane, we have to get ready. There's skills coming in. We're not trained for those skills, but these are your natural skills. And people will begin to see, and it'll happen over and over. You can see people walking around, people walking through walls, and he's blending in and out. You looked at it as a phase shift, and he was part of phase shifting because that's already preparatory states of his input-output carrier sequence, frequency of the residual self-image disappearing from this dimension. See, I learned these things on ships. So I ask, and they tell me this is what you're seeing. So this is natural. More of this will happen. The difficulty is, should I tell the person they're leaving? Should I tell the person you're not supposed to be together? Sometimes it's not your place. Things take place the way they take place. The people make choices where we don't interfere, and things have to take place. Or we look awkward if we go too far ahead with our psychic skill. So right now is what you're seeing, and there's more skills as I see in your field. There's more coming in. Observe, learn, look at the pattern, follow the pattern, and you'll be safe. These things happen because you're opening up more. The planet is ascending. Everybody is opening up more and more you will see people phase shifting or phasing in and out. That's like you're realizing, okay, when this holographic projected matrix, and you're beginning to look behind the program masks. When you have your Apple computer, you don't know there's all these data bits running behind the thing to make you see that little green emoji that's jumping or smiling. And when you have sight, as in your third opening more, then you see what's making that emoji jump. And you looked into the program matrix of actually what's occurring. And that's quite normal. Nothing paranormal here. And this will be the new norm.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you all for answering that so much. And thank you, Diana, for sharing that story, because I think that gives other beings a lot of, stability to deal with their own paranormal, but not so paranormal effects in their lives too. We had it, we crossed the 90 minutes mark, everyone. I think that was an fantastic, amazing talk, really spectacular and versatile too. We want to do a quick meditation. I would encourage every one of our speakers, Sarah Zula and Kedrich Olsen, to just, take 5 minutes max, so that we can keep it compact, but of course we have to do the meditation, because that is, bringing it all together and sharing some good energies and composing some good energies. So we're going to do that. And right after that, we have an opportunity to talk about what's coming up with all our beautiful speakers here, and also sharing where to find more of them too, because I know Arcturus Raw has an Etsy shop where you can get some of his technology. And Rebecca, I think you have a website where you do have something to share as well. So let's quickly get into our meditation profoundly, quickly but profoundly, make good use of our beautiful psionic powers as a group, because as always, as a group together, we overcome the limitations that we experience as single puzzle pieces of what we actually are. So when we come together and bring our attention into the world, that really balloons it up. And I want to dedicate that meditation, actually, because Jane Atlas, I don't know if she's right now with us here, but she texted me a few days ago on Instagram, and usually I get so many messages that I don't always see everything happening there. But she texted me and said she's observing what's going on in the world currently, with some of the concerning news where, some groups are battling each other, and which is kind of sad for everyone involved, it's but she was starting a world peace meditation, and was asking if the all shift happening in our community can contribute to that. And I think, that's our duty, our responsibility in a way, and also our honor to do so. Whoops. So I would, at least for my part, I'm very committed to, focus on the situation that we have on this planet, and contribute to the beautiful shift that is possible and waiting for us too. So everyone at home, everyone around the universe, everyone around the planet as well, get cozy, get relaxed, and go into a state of meditation with me, Kedrich, and Sarah Zula. And then we're going to continue a conversation for just a few more moments. So while you get ready for that, have your eyes closed if you'd like to. For those of you who like to use eye masks or something, put them on right now, get into cozy mode, but also be aware that meditation is ultimately connecting us to the informational nature and the reality that is rooted in everything, and becoming aware that we are puzzle pieces of the all. However, when we all put, collectively an intention into the realm, we can design realities. And I think the majority, probably 99% of everyone on this planet, we all want peace, and we all want this shift to become the designated time of peace and prosperity and growth, and all the beautiful things that make us happy. So let's focus on that. Let's focus wherever we are around on this planet, and we have multiple thousands of people who are doing these meditations each month with us. So let's all focus on connecting with each other. Let's invite even more beings into this realm, even those that are not on the live right now, but will join us on the YouTube transmission, and those beings that might not even be aware yet of all shift happening now, but will soon join us. And of course, our friends and allies on so many other planes of existence that are truly part of us and part of the benevolent nature of the universe. Let's invite them all in. And wherever you are with your eyes closed, focus on the spot in the middle of your forehead and feel that there is a connecting point, that you can actually bring out a certain type of wave pattern through your forehead into the reality realm all around you. And we are going to do that all together. Realize that time doesn't mean anything, location doesn't mean anything. The intention that we bring into this meditation is what matters and what counts. So let's feel into the reality that there are so many beings that want to shift happily, countless, billions of people that want to shift happily. Some of them have not expressed that yet. However, we can override some of the few that might be still concerned with bumping their heads into each other, and really make a great stand to make that transition of this planet right now in this very crucial and important phase of time on planet Earth. Make that transition a happy transition. So inside of your mind, realize that there are more and more of these golden spots lighting up all around the world on different levels of existence as well, that there are other beings observing us right now, and they are lightening up too. They are connecting and contributing with their energies as well. So see that in front of your eyes and see all these beings lightening up that all want to shift happily. And now realize that more and more of these golden lights are lightening up. Imagine it to be like, in one of the X-Men movies where Professor X is like looking into the world and sees all these different souls, and more of these souls lighten up in front of your mental eye. And now connect them into this, happily, this shifting into happiness. Connect them into this network and see that in reality, the whole planet is glowing up. Why? Because we all want happiness, whatever that means, but we all want to live in peace and harmony, prosperity, and have the basic and architecture of the universe that supports this vision. And realize that whenever we choose and select something in the eternal field of probabilities, that it is receiving. We are receiving it right now. And over time, it will show more and more and more and more. So for some of you, you might feel some tingling in your third eye. You might feel that golden light. You might feel a physical connection to this beautiful all shift happening in our community. Just allow that to happen. Connect to these other parts of your soul's journey. You have chosen this part for a good reason, because together we are so much stronger. We overcome the limitations of self, and we put in the intention, and we select out of the eternal field, and we determine our timelines to be a happy timeline. With that being said, I pass that on to Sarah Zula.
Beautiful. And breathe and soften and relax and allow your body to sink deeper into this beautiful energy of connection. Holding the vision of the global grid activated between all of us, connecting with one another, inviting helpful, happy beings to support the connection, to join in with us now. Allow yourself to breathe and soften and relax, and give yourself permission to relax into this moment even more. Begin to travel with your awareness from that third eye space back to the back of your head, becoming aware of that awareness, feeling it traveling from your third eye space to the back of your head. Your awareness melting and traveling down your throat. Your awareness now landing in the center of your heart. Send now your awareness and your breath to the center of your heart. Breathing in and out of your heart as if your heart had lungs. Allowing your awareness to take a seat in the safe space of your heart now. Feel how good it feels to rest there. To melt into this space of love. And connect in with your heart with some gentle reminders that you are safe here. You're loved. You're protected. You are free to be you. You get to live a life that feels authentically aligned with how you love to live. You are free to be you. Take a deep breath in, connecting with your heart again, and let yourself know I am so proud of you. Again, I am so proud of you. You're doing good. And from this awareness, feel yourself connecting to the other beautiful souls in this group. The beings who've had the courage to awaken, to walk their paths, to share their information. The beings who've had the courage to expand their minds, to open to new information. Feel yourself connecting to the beautiful souls in this group and honoring them for all that they are. Let these beings know I am so proud of you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your perseverance. And thank you for being here with me now. Thank you. And as you honor these other beings in the group, I want you to open your heart and allow yourself to receive that honoring as well. And as we feel this connection growing of appreciation between one another, I want you to notice this global grid getting stronger and stronger through the connections of appreciation and gratitude we have created. Notice that global grid of consciousness, make that grid brighter and brighter, filling with the energy of gratitude, of appreciation, of love. And begin to witness that global grid of love, of appreciation, of gratitude, spreading around this entire planet. See it, notice it. And begin to infuse that grid with the energy of peace, with the energy of remembering that we are one. Infuse that grid that's already full of love and connection and gratitude. Infuse it now with the energy of remembering that we are all in this together, that we are all one. That we can move beyond a world of war and struggling and strife. We can move beyond it now. It is our choice, and we can do this now. we can transform this now together. Begin sending the energy of awareness even more into this global grid for a few more moments. And choose the energy you'd like to add into here. Maybe it's joy, maybe it's resolution, maybe it's peace, maybe it's remembering. You have a unique code, trust that. And infuse your unique code of what you want to share into this grid now. Thank you for your contribution. And allow your awareness to zoom back into the heart, feeling the connection with the group. As we get ready to pass it on to Kadrick Olson.
Thank you for all of that. That's good. And now is my job as a shadow worker. We're going to stir things up a little bit. We're going to use some runes to do that. Knowing that we're connected to this global grid, seeing those golden points of light, seeing all of those pieces and parts that are working well, knowing that you are protected, that you are connected, that you are safe and secure. We're going to tap into some runes here and bring some of the runic energy alive to help do some of our shadow work. Notice on this global grid, there are some areas that still don't shine. Maybe an area in particular that calls your attention that's still dark. Dark with conflict, dark with suffering, dark with something that no longer serves our collective. Just bring your awareness to that darkness. And just for this moment, be aware of how that conflict feels. And we'll call that Thurzaz. It's a rune that looks like a thorn on a branch. It deals with aggression and violence and conflict. And just for now, because this is a part of humanity today, we cannot turn a blind eye. We cannot turn our backs upon this. We cannot ignore. We need to accept all that we are. Even the pain, even the suffering. This is what it means to be part of the collective unconscious of humanity, is to see the darkness, to accept it as the human experience, to be grateful for the lessons that come from the ordeals. So we sing Thurzaz 3 times to be open and accepting to this aspect of humanity today. Thurzaz, Thurzaz, Thurzaz. But we also know there's other parts of healing, other parts of growth. There's a rune by the name of Berkana. It looks like the letter B. It represents the birch tree, but it's that nurturing, that giving, that healing aspect of the divine feminine. So to these dark places that you're drawn to, where you felt that Thurzaz energy, tap into your own sense of the sacred feminine, your own sake of nurturing. How would you calm and support and care for a wounded child that may be angry and upset that they were hurt in some way? How would you tap into that part of you that wants to bring that comfort and care to that child? Feel that. Let that grow within you. Every breath you take, feel that nurturing as we sing Berkana 3 times. Berkana. Tap into the care, the nurturing. Berkana. Caring for the wounded child. Berkana. Feel that care and compassion growing within you. And remember, energy is energy. It can change frequencies. It can transmute to a different state. So as you're aware of the Thurzaz, you are bringing light to it. You are bringing light to the darkness by bringing your awareness and acceptance to it. By tapping into your Berkana nature, you are starting to transmute that shadow energy to care and nurture. So be willing to tap into your care, your nurture, your comfort energy, singing its name, Berkana, visualizing a B shape, the letter B shape in your mind as you focus on that dark spot. And there's one last rune we're going to look at. It's a rune by the name of Manas. It kind of looks like the letter M with crossed arms in the middle. It's the rune of humanity, about our connectedness, knowing that you are a part of all of the collective, that the work you do for your own spiritual growth is affecting the collective unconscious, that the work you are doing to raise your vibration is affecting all, and that it's okay to do that work for yourself because it affects the all. And that's what Manas teaches us. Manas is the self and all of humanity. So again, feel your Berkana energy, Berkana, but realize your connection to the whole through your individuality, Manas, and see those energies transmuting the dark spot into a place of light, even if it's just a flickering light, dimly glowing for now. Berkana Manas, 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 Berkana Manas. Oh. And however that light needs to transmute is your gift to the world. Hail and thank you.
That was beautiful. Okay, everyone, just as much as we've used tones and runes in order to bring energy into a proper form that suits us all, let's put all our collective intentions, good intentions, into the all shift happening now when we do that all together and realize and embrace all the differences and all the specific energies that we bring to the table. We have so many beautiful speakers here that bring individual energies to the table, and so many beautiful beings that bring their positive intentions to the world. So let's all do that together by saying all shift happening now, and put that into our collective timelines, just as we mean that. In 3, in 2, in 1, all shift happily now. Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone at home. It was really a pleasure. Please be reminded that last time we had over 8,000 people that actually watched our beautiful All Shift happening on community live. So even when there are people that are not currently on the live, they still tune into the meditation, and it still increases the network that we have. Let's do a rapid question and answer fragment where we talk about what's in our lives right now, what we are working on, and where people can find that. And I think we should start with our lovely guests, special guest, Arcturus Ra. What are you currently manufacturing? What's your plans? I know you have a new label coming up too, which is very exciting because you concentrate on conscious music now. So let people know where they find your Etsy and what's up in your world.
Okay, I make this quick. I'm a builder of a medbed, which people talked about it in theory, but I had to actually put it in physical form. We're already selling like on a zero field based healing modality. It's called Cellwell. That you find on my website, ra-key.com. I am on YouTube as Arcturus Ra. I am on Rumble as Arcturus Ra. I have a rap group for conscious music on Spotify and any other streaming platform. We're known as Urban Monks. Urban and MONX. So you find me there. And Instagram, Arcturus Ra. And on my website, all the details of my science and what I teach and help to raise the frequency and get you into a higher vibratory state. Even though for our Italian friend, these pendants can help you to have not stuff explode around you to modulate actually the frequency that's communicating in and out. And that's for the star seeds in the elevation process. I am at your service.
So beautiful. Thank you so much, Arcturus Ra, for being here on the live. We do have a Shifter podcast with you where people can find a lot more information too, where you also hold some of the items that you manufacture right into the camera, so for everyone to see. You find that on Tim Tactical on the YouTube. And also, I think we should continue that conversation because that was really, really special. And someone else we had on the live, which I enjoyed very much that you were here, Rebecca, Lorian. I'm still pronouncing your Orion name. Let people know where they find you and what is coming up with you next.
Okay, thank you. It's perfect, the pronunciation. So I'm currently working in some cooperation with the 26th. I will be speaking with Flo Karuna about some beings from Indaka. He asked me to create these. And I'm working on some project here in Italy. I should start to have this YouTube channel with these hypnologists, Italian hypnologists. And so I would love to invite some of you because Italy needs so much awakenings. And so that's now where I'm located, and I'm trying to speak international, but even Italian for them because Italy is a place that don't speak so much English, so I have to do even these kind of events in Italy. And the 5th of December, with an Argentina lady that is from Orion too. She is like a channeler, a medium, Alma. And I will try to do in Spanish. So it's my second time doing this in Spanish. So all the presentation I will be in Spanish. I hope to translate, even though it's my second language, Spanish, because I'm half South American, half Italian. But I deeply hope to, to share these downloads with everybody. So I have a website, but for now it's in Italian. So I'm currently work with a friend of mine. She's like a genius. I've met her in Glastonbury. So to create a new website, more international. But for now, I have the link tree in my Instagram page where you can find all the video, all the events I do with Portal to Ascension. Basically, they are in English. So there is a lot of Orion history and Starseed and galactic stuff there. So you can find in Rebecca Reb segment for now, because I'm not technological at all. So as I said, I'm working on becoming more tech. So that's where you can find me. So in the Rebecca Reb segment, you can find all the updating of the events, of everything I do,
Thank you.
and some paintings.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for being here. And really, really amazing. And also something that Italy can look forward to, because the All Shift Happening community, every year we do a retreat, a very intimate retreat. I know a lot of people out there have been part of that. It's going to start in June 25. So we're going to be very, very close to Milano then, and supporting Italy too. I know that's very close to your current home too. So thank you very much for being here on the All-Shift Happening YouTube Live. We have Kedrich Olsen. I'm so happy that you're here again, Kedrich, and shared some of the really, really amazing wisdom of the Nordics, North mythology. What is coming up for you? I know you do a lot of workshops, and tell people where to find them.
Absolutely. Definitely check for my website, kadrick.com. And my name, Kadric, alone, if you were just to go to any social media, will unlock the door. My name, Kadric, is a key to unlocking a lot of things. I've launched a couple of new online courses, like Runes for Shadow Work. Oh boy, some of the names have escaped me, but I've launched like 3 new online little courses, and I've got some new stuff coming up, especially right now through the end of the year. I've got some specials going on about learning to do seance and spirit communication kind of work. So again, check out my name, Kadric.com. You can't miss it. Lots going on there.
This
Thank
is so
you.
funny that you're basically the only one who's using Kadric for their website. That's kind of cool. Thank you so much for being here. Some people asked about Rebecca's Instagram. All our speakers are also linked in our Instagram as well, so you can directly click on them too. There's actually a live story on right now. Sarah Zula, what's with you? When's the next Ticket to Ride start, and how is Mastermind going?
Amazing. So yeah, I just had a lot of people in the community are actually in the Mastermind Coaches Edition. So I have 2 trainings that just started a few weeks ago. These are the things I run twice a year. It's the 6-month training. And that's what I call the Subconscious Freedom Mastermind. There's 1 level for our personal healing and support. And it's 6 months of very, very practical but powerful trainings to clear out the programming so we can do exactly what we talked about today. Live in alignment with our soul mission, feel authentically good being us, free ourselves from the baggage. And then there's a level 2 I have for coaches and healers where I certify them in my best modalities. I teach them the business things so they can have a thriving business in a way that works for them. So that actually the Coaches Edition kicked off last night, which was so cool. And there's so many people in this community in it, which is amazing. And then I invite everyone to come on to my free monthly sessions. So every month I have a session and I work with people live. I work with usually 4 to 5 people and have live sessions. And the reason why I do it live is because the way that I guide people through this process is that when we watch it happen, we heal a part of ourselves. So you watch someone go through this healing and you get so much from it. You start to be able to ask yourself different questions to see into your own blind spots. We really demystify how each individual reality is playing out so we can see beyond our blind spots. So I invite you guys to just come into the live free sessions. You can find them at sarahzula.com. Just like it's spelled on here. And I'd love to see you there and just work with you guys live. I think it's a beautiful space to be. And yeah, so Tim and I have our Ticket to Ride course we do together that's focused on ascension and really supporting people in integrating level 4 consciousness, experiencing them. I do the healing part, Tim does the ascension part. And the next one of that is starting in February. So it's starting soon. The doors aren't open to purchase it yet, but it's a good thing to look out for. So thank you. And thank you everyone for being here. This was a great session.
Thank you so much. I agree very, very much. And something that is very special to Ticket to Ride right now, we are working on, improving that. We already have phenomenal results and it's a really beautiful course, but we also feel that we want to have some more videos. So everyone who's part of Ticket to Ride, we're going to upgrade that very, very soon so that you will also see these videos. It just makes it so much easier when we are sharing the wisdom of the universe, when people have clips that they can watch right before we go into these live sessions. So if you want to be part of Ticket to Ride, it starts in February and we're going to have that on the website. It's actually on allshifthappeningnnow.com. Something that is also on allshifthappeningnnow.com is the new Italy retreat. I'm extremely excited about that because it starts this time in June 25. It's the most beautiful area in Italy. Rebecca knows about it. It's the Lake Garda. It's really, really special. And what we have there is an eco place. The whole mansion is just for us. It's a very intimate group of only less than 20 people. You can actually apply. That doesn't mean that you're on it yet, because what I do is I take a lot of time to actually figure out who matches with whom so that every time we have a really, really special connection and people. And what we do in person is we go into how to modulate energy. So we are going to do some couple and friend exercises right on the spot, and all of that paired with some nice Italian cuisine. And I bet Rebecca knows that it's one of the best in the world. If not the best, who knows? Italians would vote for that, definitely. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this All Shift Happening in our community live. As always, I want to give a chance to the golden ticket winners to just give like a nice sentence or two at the end of this to honor you too. So Diana, maybe you can speak first, and then we have Kati.
So again, it's a thrill being here. I'm glad to see you, Kadrich, back again. And it's wonderful to meet the new people. Well, they're new to me. And Sarah, you are such a blessing. I'm a part of the Ticket to Ride, and it has been incredibly healing for me. So, and Tim, thank you both so much. I appreciate all of you. I look forward to the next month, next time.
Thank you so much, Diana. Next time we have a big show, even bigger than this one, because it's going to happen on Christmas, 24th of 24. Means it's going to be Christmas, and we have some special people, and maybe I can even motivate some other people to have some guest cameo. Arcturus Ra is doing this, so he's on it. That's super cool. And Kati, some last words for today.
Hi, thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your knowledge and your contacts. It really is really appreciated. Tim and Sarah, again, thank you for your inspiration and your classes, your courses. It is helping me to integrate my own spirit, the knowledge of my soul, even though I don't remember everything, and I don't think I want to remember too much. It's just so much information, but one day at a time, I would say. And it's nice to talk with people that are open-minded, and you are well received here. It's a great place to be ourselves and keep growing and building new realities.
You are very well loved, Kati, in this community and beyond. And so are you out there, everywhere around the world. Very much loved in this community that we are building all together, and in the universe. The universe loves you a lot because we're apparently children of this interesting experience that we are all going through together and building and constructing too. So with that being said, check out allshifthappeningnow.com to find even out more about these speakers and about Italy. And we see you next month with a big Christmas special. Thank you all, and see you next month. Bye.